Hi guys, hope everybody's doing well. So I finally got my Vanderhall back from the shop, which the problems that I had nothing to do with a renter, but there's not that much content out there or reporting of issues on Vanderhalls out there. So I wanted to share with anyone out there who has a Vanderhall, who has one listed on Turo, or who's thinking about buying one, the issues that I face, just so if you experience this, you kind of know what to expect in case you come across some of these issues. So back in November, I started kind of hearing like a weird knocking noise coming from the car. It was definitely coming from sort of the engine area, but it wasn't like your typical knocking that comes from an engine when something is wrong with an engine. It just sounded a little bit odd. And the only thing that I could consistently find with the car in replicating the sound was that it didn't happen when you went in reverse. It would only happen when you were in drive, and there was no consistency with turning the wheel left or right, or when you brake or anything like that. So it's kind of really odd, and seemed like over time it got progressively louder. So finally, I think it was in the last week of November, I want to say it was November 25th, I finally took it in to have them take a look at it because it was still under warranty. It was under a year. Vanderhalls, I believe, come with a 1-year built-in warranty, and then you have an option to extend till 2. I did purchase the full 2-year warranty, thank goodness, because I feel like with these cars, you kind of don't exactly know yet what issues you're going to have. So I got the paperwork for what I experienced, and I just wanted to share that with you guys in case you come across any of these issues. So basically, I took it in and I told them about the sort of knocking noise that I was hearing from it sounded like from the engine compartment of the car. It didn't happen in reverse. And so they took it for a test drive. They were able to replicate the sound, and then they had to put it up on a lift to see what was going on. And what they found was that the rear engine mount nut was loose. So they had to just go ahead and correctly torque that to the manufacturer's spec. And then they did QC on the other 2 nuts as well and torqued those to the manufacturing specs. So that was a really easy fix for a noise that actually sounded really horrible. And I thought it was going to be way worse. So I was really happy to hear when they were able to do that in just a day. But when they had the car up on the lift, they noticed a leak from the front right tire, I believe, area. So here's what they found. They said while it was on the lift, they found a leakage in the front right wheel, right on the axle. This is not normal for the unit. They recommended a teardown to do a further diagnosis. They did a full 21-point inspection, and after removing the front right tire and the whole brake caliper bracket, and then the guy put, when I put the socket on the axle nut to remove it, I was able to turn the nut with just my hand. I found that the leakage was coming from the front wheel bearing. The leakage is due to the axle nut was not tightened to the spec, which is what caused the axle to wobble and in turn causing the wheel bearing to leak grease. So that was the leakage that he saw. Now, this was a major pain in my side because this took them forever to fix. I did not think that I was taking this in for that problem, but I'm super glad that they found it and that I didn't get progressively worse from not catching it, because I feel like this is just one of those things that I wouldn't normally see. But basically what they had to do was they had to replace the front wheel bearing with the ABS sensor. So they were able to diagnose it pretty quickly, but what happened was the reason why it took almost 2 months for them to get the part and replace the part was because every time Vanderhall shipped the part, they didn't package it correctly, and in transit, where the sensor was on the wheel bearing, it was attached to sort of this little plastic piece, and that would pop off in transit and it would crack. So every time Delamo Motorsports would receive this part, it would be broken, and then they would have to reorder, and then Vanderhall would have to reship it. And finally, the 3rd time around, Delamo called them and complained about how they were packaging the part because they weren't putting any bubble wrap, and they probably should have used the packaging like little pellets for that part because it's heavy and it wasn't exactly in a box that fit it correctly. So they kind of yelled at them to package it correctly, and they finally packaged it correctly. And I happened to be there when they opened the 3rd package when it came in the mail. And even then they didn't package it correctly, and actually that little plastic piece did pop off the wheel bearing, but they were able to snap it back into place because luckily the clips didn't break. So Vanderhall, please package your parts correctly. But with that said, that is, I feel like, an issue with the Vanderhalls, is that because they're still such a new company, it is hard to get those parts. And if you're listing a car like this on Turo, that's just something that you want to think about. Now, the cool thing is that, you know, some time has gone by since Vanderhall has been out, and it looks like these motorsports shops are kind of getting smart about this. For example, when my part finally came in for the Vanderhall, they had just hired a GM tech because these have the GM motors in it. And so now they're actually able to sidestep getting Vanderhall parts, unless it's something obviously that's like a body panel or something that is only true to Vanderhall. They're able to get the GM part for it and do it way faster, like within a day. So they my dealership brought in a GM tech who's able to learn the parts and know what the GM counterpart for Vanderhall is, and they're going to be able to service these a whole lot faster. So if you're in the market for getting a Vanderhall and you're thinking about listing it on Turo, one thing to note is that the new 2020 Vanderhalls, they are of a different body. So they're a little bit wider, they sit a little bit deeper, so the entire frame is actually different from this 2018 Vanderhall that I have. And I love the new ones. I think they're awesome. They are much bigger, way more spacious, and just all around the body of the car is a lot larger than these ones. So this is really narrowed compared to those. So that's something to think about because it is a newer body style. You want to talk to somebody at a dealer who is familiar with these and can kind of clue you into if it needs to be serviced or if it needs parts, how long that could potentially take. So that's sort of been my experience. I still think that it's a great car to list onto the platform, but you just want to make sure that you're working with the dealership or have a dealership in your area that is knowledgeable on these cars and knows how to work on them. I'm going to try to show you guys where the leak is because you can still kind of see the residue from the grease that leaked. So if you have a Vanderhall, this is kind of what you would look out for. So let me get some good lighting and see if I can show you guys. All right, so I'm going to attempt at showing this to you guys. So right over here, you can kind of see where it's a little greasy. So that's where the leak was. Let me try to zoom into that right there. And in comparison, let me show you guys the other side. Oh, bad day to be wearing white. You guys will see sort of the difference on this side where it's totally clean. So no grease right here and no leaks on this side, which is interesting because I actually thought it was going to be the left side of the car because I had a bent rim and I thought maybe that might have affected it. Let me see if I can show you guys the bent rim. It doesn't really look like you can see it on this angle, but I had a little bit of a bent rim on my left side. But yeah, so if you have a Vanderhall, that's something to watch out for. All right, guys, as always, thanks for watching. That's a wrap for me, and hopefully this content on the Vanderhall Venices is helpful for some of you out there that might have one. And other than that, these cars are absolutely amazing, and I cannot rave about them enough. I absolutely love, love, love them. I love driving them. Oh, and for any of you that are curious as to, so I've had this car for almost exactly a year now, and I've had it listed on Turo for about, I would say 11 months because it was out for that one repair for about a month. So I would say in about 11 months of being on Turo, in terms of mileage, it probably put on about 6,000 miles, maybe 6,500. So that's kind of what the yearly total came in with me sort of aggressively having it available for rent, but not really dipping low on the prices because I really love this car and I want to preserve it for myself. But yeah, so that was the mileage in case any of you are thinking about listing one and are trying to figure out how many miles you might need to expect for the year. That's what I encountered in the first year. So let's see how the second year goes. Thanks for watching. watching, guys. If you like this channel, please be sure to subscribe and help me get to 10,000 subscribers so I can get access to YouTube stories and show you guys more of my day. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.